Quite a number of times in the course of preaching, I'd make mention of Ephesians 5:1. Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children. And kind of just use it as proof text for being imitators of God. But maybe you've sometimes heard people say, if you have a therefore, ask what it's there for. Well, that starts a chapter, which is kind of disadvantaged because too many times in our reading, we end a chapter and it's almost as if our mind shuts off, and then we start another chapter and it turns on and we don't connect the two. But I think that if you really get the full impact of verse 1, you've got to go back to the previous, not just chapter, but actually even the previous verse. In verse 32 of chapter 4, be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Then, therefore, be imitators of God. So, if we're saying, okay, imitate God, but within this context, since it says therefore, what did God do? Very specifically within context, God forgave you. And He's teaching you here about forgiving somebody else. And then He tells you, therefore be imitators of God. Maybe I need to ask myself, am I the forgiving person that I ought to be? Okay, if you want to go to Ephesians 5:1 as a proof text to say, imitate God, okay. Because I think that ultimately, yes, imitate God, but in context, in a specific way. Are you forgiving others? Hey, God's forgiven you. So imitate God. Forgiveness. I hope that we do have that forgiveness from God. God in His mercy, His grace will save us. We respond and accept that salvation in faith, turning from our sin, to confess that faith and to be immersed for the forgiveness of sins. We could assist you with that baptism tonight. If there's a need for prayer, we'd be glad to pray for you. If you need to come, please come as we stand and sing.